Hello, my people. Happy Sunday. I just around come drop this one before I go church. No be small fight, PDP and APC. Because of, in short, make I first give una wetin Atiku talk. They say Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Atiku demands explanation over Tinubu's legal team's imprints on judgments. My people, no be small thing. When I know say after that September 6 judgment, PDP said them go appeal, Labour said them go appeal. So they need final judgment so that they'll go study and before, anything. But meanwhile, they get like 14 days to do all this, but then delay them. After 2 days, they can't give them. When they can't release the results now, my people, make I just read you the gist first from Vanguard, then I can't let you watch video. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the February 25th, 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar and the members of his team have queried the presence of the watermark on the Tinubu's legal team on certified true copies of the judgment of the presidential election petition court currently trending on social media. Now, people no be small. When appeal court finally released the final judgment, the letter go carry Tinubu's legal team. It's supposed to carry appeal court, abi? As a company or as a firm, if you won't write anybody, you won't send any letter, she mean your letter heading go there, your company name and the watermark. But this one go carry Tinubu's legal team. Now be the one people they talk say whether na Tinubu legal team and na Tinubu then write that judgment. Because even if you look at it, according to what people they talk, it be like waiting. Then write the judges when they were reading it, if now so waiting you write, you read it, you get the way you go read down small. Even if you go make mistake, it won't be as much as this. And at the same time, when they want talk about PDP and APC, see the annoyance, in them when they said in they vex. Meanwhile, tribunal supposed they're neutral. You sure, guys? Might just let you now watch this video. Now no waiting there. The wicked will not go unpunished. That's how God would expose them. When I may share the video and leave your comment. Thank you.
We're looking at this unanimous decision of the Presidential Election Tribunal court affirming President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's election as the president of Nigeria. Now, in your opinion, what is the significance of such a unanimous verdict in such a high-profile case, and how it might affect the public perception of the judiciary, and of course your thoughts on the judgment as a whole? We'll start with you, Mr. Chris.
Good morning, Shay. Good morning, Akerelu. Let me say clearly here that your question captures the mood of the nation. Your question captures the sentiments. Your question captures the perception of the people due to what happened on the September the 6th, 2023. And I say this advisedly. Maybe Mother Providence had its own predilection, permit my choice of word, when the judgment was fixed for the 6th. In metaphysics, 6 is the number of man. Man has his own tendencies to disappoint, if you like, his frailty. And in this case, not wanting to stand by and for the truth, And interestingly, I hope that when the matter gets to the Supreme Court won't choose another 6th, number 6, to disappoint the people, because the issues are very lucid. They are fundamental issues, and in law, we're taught as young students in law school that judges do not descend to the arena. They don't grant prayers you do not ask for. And let me say clearly that in one of those very funny paragraphs in the judgment, the judges came down to the arena. They did say about a certain witness from the Labour Party that she was a party member, the lady from Amazon, that they cannot admit her evidence because she's a member of the Labour Party. And then turns, on the other hand, to admit the evidence from a sitting senator, from a member, a reputable member of the APC, my brother and friend, who is presently the majority leader of the Senate, Bamidele Okpeyemi. That's, on the one hand, admitting that clearly, if you like, maybe it was the voice of Esau and the hands of Jacob, or vice versa. But let me say clearly, as I talked to you this morning, what is important is that, like we said before the judgment, all eyes were on the judiciary. It was the judiciary that was on trial. We have seen the certified true copy of that judgment,
to this place now.
and clearly on the top of it, the header. I don't know why they made that mistake. The judgment, as it were, assumedly proceeded from the APC presidential legal team. And you could see when the judges were reading it, they were not reading a judgment that was indigenous to them. They were not reading a judgment that they could own. They were, if you're reading your speech, you make very little mistakes. But when you're reading a prepared speech, a written speech, of course you could see it. Everybody who watched that, the longest, if you like, the longest judgment we've seen in our historicity, would understand that it was clearly about the puppet and the puppeteer. But I believe that what we're doing, this forensic, is actually interested in putting our democracy right, because congruent with democratic process is the transparency and the credibility of the electoral process. The entire ruling, you find out first that at every point in dismissing the issues put before the court, the justices descended to the arena. They sounded like litigants. They sounded like they were defending the position of the All People Progressive Congress. And I say, you saw the issue about 25% of Abuja. Rather than staying on the provisions of Section 134 and Section 299, they were simply pondering around the issues. By law, the Constitution provides a special status for Abuja. They threw it away. Regarding issues about, and I'm saying this without fear of querulous criticism, regarding issues about forfeiture, interestingly, that's why I said maybe metaphysically, the justices of the Court of Appeal were meant to make the mistakes like human beings. Because the Supreme Court were going to face the Chief Justice of the Federation, who had, in a previous ruling in 2014, 2007, and 2014, admitted that forfeiture is a penalty for a crime, and then if it's in the event of a civil offense, it, according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, can pass to vitiate the candidacy of anybody seeking the office of president. They didn't address the fundamental issues there. They just pondered around it. And then what about the issues of double nomination? For a judge to say that Shetima's was inadvertent, that his double nomination was not deliberate, that was descending to the arena. Everything about that judgment, everything, and that's exactly why the candidate of the PDP said in no uncertain terms that what we had on the 6th of September was judgment, not justice. And then the candidate of the Labour Party said in no uncertain terms that we're going to the Supreme Court to address these fundamental issues. You don't sit down and say that because nobody has been removed by the court of law in a presidential petition, that it cannot happen. What we're talking about is justice. What we're talking about is doing what is proper, right, and right. I do not think that insisting that the law should be followed strictly is pandering to emotions or sentiments.
All right, Mr.
The law is a law, and if you must follow the law, do so and interpret the Constitution and the Electoral Act. You don't do a 12 hours judgment ruling that is basically pandering to the whims and the caprices of the ruling party. You don't do